What's up, everyone? All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to break down my watch list for Monday morning and the game plan for the week ahead. Now, I'm uploading this watch list a little bit later in the day than I typically would, but it's for an important reason. I wanted to wait for the futures markets to open to see how the market is pricing in the conflict that is unfolding right now in the Middle East. In the past, when we have had conflicts in the Middle East, it has typically resulted in the price of oil going up. And so that was the thing I was really thinking about. The S&P 500, whether it goes up or down in response to this conflict, I wasn't really as concerned about that. But I was thinking about oil specifically because in the past, we have had conflict in the Middle East that's resulted in the price of oil going up. And that in turn has resulted in a basket of small cap fossil fuel companies also going up in price. And some of those have very low floats, very minimal, very low levels of supply. And so with a surge in demand, can see this really big increase in price. So that's kind of what I was thinking about over the weekend. And I wanted to wait to upload this watch list until we could see the market. So let's go ahead and jump onto the screen share. And what you can see here is the quote for oil futures just on Thinkorswim. And so you can see initially opening high. So this is the gap from the weekend. So we closed right here at 67, opening and hitting a high of 75 all the way up here. So a solid, 10% increase, more than 10%, like 12% increase, but softening down a little bit here as it pulled back down to a low of 71 before this green candle's coming in. So, all right, well, 10% jump in oil, that is probably worth paying attention to. If we back this up to 15-minute chart, yes, sir, what can I help you with? You can use that. I don't have a yellow marker. You can use the orange one if you'd like. I have a guest with me today. Guest host, if you will. Guest, well, I don't know. But in any case, so high is 75.40. Pulling back a little bit right here. Okay, so but then I wanted to zoom out to just bigger picture chart. So realistically, coming up to 70, 75, how statistically significant is that? And so we look back here: December, November, October, August, July, back to June. So it's coming back up to definitely around a 6-month high, but even then. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's significant enough that it's going to result in, some kind of huge surge. This was back in 2022. I think this was 2022. During this time, we had a huge surge in small cap stocks that were in the oil space. And so, that made sense as the price of oil just, went on a huge tear. But we're certainly nowhere near those levels. So big picture, I don't know if this really is significant enough that it's going to cause, a sort of rippling effect across small caps. But then if we look at the E-minis, or the S&P 500 here, so you could see that the S&P is down a little bit on this news from the Middle East here. So this is the current quote, gapping down just slightly. The market has been kind of top heavy, right? I mean, we've sort of been teetering up here. And so I think many of us have been wondering if we're going to see the market correct a little bit. So right now a little bit. This is a long extended time frame. If we do just like a 15-minute chart, you can see though big picture is yes, down a bit, but again, it's not really breaking far outside the standard deviation as of yet. So, okay, well, that's all helpful information as we work on putting together a watch list here for this morning. So BATL, this is actually the stock that I traded on Friday. I did go red on it, upload my recap, finished max loss. That was disappointing. We had this squeeze up and then gave it all back. Then it came back up and gave it all back again. And then it kind of slowly rallied back up into the close. So let's talk about some of these oil stocks. MXC is one of them. This is one where it's had such light volume. However, if you look back on the daily chart on it, It is a stock that you could see like back here. This was again 2022, right? Had this huge squeeze from 10 up to $40 a share. INDO, this is another one. There you go. Same thing from $4 to $88 a share. So those were two. Let's see. We had TPET. This is one that has popped up a few times. The float, 9.6 million shares, was not around, or if it was, had a different symbol back in 2022. So sort of lower float one here. I'm not. For me, this one's too cheap. So sort of too cheap. It floats, well, 9.6 million shares isn't the lowest. So the one that I really think about sort of off the top of my head, though, is MXC, because that's the one that's kind of MXC and INDO that have both put in some pretty big moves in the past. I don't know if I pull up, let's see, I could log in my Robinhood account here and see if they show any interesting charts on the 24-hour markets. I'll just pull that up. I had set up Robinhood for my small account challenge, which many of you guys probably are aware of. And although I'm not trading in it, I do still have my account. So let's see. But it wants me to do a two-factor on my phone. So let's log into Robinhood on my phone. There are, as you probably know, a handful of brokers that are offering 24-hour markets. And so some of these brokers that are offering that, may be worth checking just to see if any of these stocks are moving up in 24-hour markets. So let's see. All right, so we're going to open Robinhood Legend here. I suppose maybe you could also pull it up on Schwab, but we'll pull up on Schwab just real quick. INDO, but yeah, the last quote was from Friday. Let's see if this shows any quote here. Session, INDO. I'm not an expert on Robinhood, so. Well, I'm not seeing any chart here, so I don't know if this is a stock that either is not available in 24-hour markets or is INDO is just not trading currently. Either one, I suppose, is possible. So INDO. Well, no, so yeah, 570. I guess that was the close, 567. So pre-market, yeah. Well, I don't know. So, anyways, I guess we don't have quotes on that one right now. But I would say INDO is the first one I'll put on my watch list. So I'm just gonna put it as a maybe. INDO, 9 million share float. It's a little bit higher than it was in the past, but would be worth watching. It is above. Yes, you may use that. It is above the S&P. Sorry, the 200 exponential moving average. So that's INDO. Now we'll check MXC. So then MXC, this one has a sub 1 million share float at 900,000 shares. Price is about 1120, also above the 200 EMA. Okay. TPET, that one is a little bit cheaper, as we know. Let's see. USO, I wouldn't trade the United States Oil Fund. This was going to be very thickly traded. But let's see. RBNE, this one, another energy stock, had popped up quite a bit back here. All right, thank you. I'll keep that here. RBNE, I'll put that on my list. RBNE. Done pretty well on this one. At one point, I think it was last year. Let's see, when was it? Or was it when we had these big spikes? Yeah, 2025, yeah. So, that could be interesting. It's below the 200 moving average. Reverse split back here floats 2.7 million shares. So, and then, as always, it's not to say there's only 3 or 4 energy stocks, but those are the ones off the top of my head that I could see working. But again, I'm not totally sure that the price of oil right now, at least in the futures market, is quite high enough that we're going to see a big move tomorrow in these stocks. Again, we will find out. So anyways, that's a little bit of a thought. Now, if we go over to the scans and then we look at our after hours top gainer scanner, after hours top gain scan, 50% gain, 54% on RPGL. So, that was a move that popped up. It's sort of a stock that's sold off, as you can see here, has had reverse splits, now bouncing a little bit. I kind of characterize that as a dead cat bounce. Don't usually find a lot of interest in it. Singapore company, that's where they're located. That one to me is sort of maybe, but not really my cup of tea. HKD, this one's not really my cup of tea either. Hong Kong stock, gonna leave that one alone. CD floats a little higher on these ones. TURB floats 3 million shares, which is fine. MRM, 6 million shares, but not a lot of volume, so probably not gonna be worth trading. If we switch over to, let's see, continuation scan, this cheaper stock, XWell, made a big move last week, pulling back now. Could we get a first daily candle to bounce back up? Maybe at some point this week. Same with CDIO. We could get a little pullback and then a first candle. But the relative volume will be lower on the day that you get the bounce, and typically it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to get a good trade. ALBT below the 200 moving average there. That's not great. EDSA, probably no. So, I think the fact is right now we're definitely in a little bit of a lull. The markets are a bit cooler. It's a good time to be studying. And the things to study really are the live trading archives from when the market was hotter, certainly, and just to be going over the curriculum for those who haven't already studied it. So I will, as always, put a link to our 2-week trial, which is ongoing. You can use it anytime you'd like, but we've got a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading that we offer. And it's 2 weeks for $20. That'll give you access to this software right here that I'm using, your own install of charts, scans, breaking news. Plus, you'll have access to my stream. So you'll be able to listen to my commentary and watch as I'm trading and have access to our chat room. You'll also have access to a selection of classes from the Warrior Pro curriculum. So make sure you guys check out that 2-week trial. It's the Warrior Pro preview. And even though the market's a little bit cooler, to me, the best use of a cold market is studying and preparing for when it heats up. Because when it heats up, you want to be able to hit the ground running. And if you come in when the market's hot, then you're not really well seasoned in how to trade and how to capitalize on those moves. And so you typically end up leaving a lot on the table. Yes. My eraser? Oh, it's right here. There, you can borrow that. It's purple. So that is... my plan for the week is going to continue to keep risk in check, try to build a cushion for the month of March. February ended up finishing with probably around 150,000, which was good in trading profits, but fell certainly short of my, I don't want to say expectations. I mean, it's the market will give you what it gives you, but I was hopeful that we would have a better month, and so I was definitely left feeling a little disappointed in February, but really grateful that at the very least we had such great momentum through the month of January, because that was really great. Built the cushion for the month, or built the cushion for the year, and so even though February underperformed a little bit. It's at least we had a few really good weeks in January, and we did have a few decent trades in February as well. So realistically, for the month of March, even if I only have 4 or 5 really good trades and 4 or 5 stocks that I'm able to really get in the zone on, one a week roughly, that could still be enough to have a solid 6-figure month. I'm not going to hit a 7-figure month with, that kind of performance or that kind of action, but I could definitely hit 6 figures. And, so 150, 200,000, I don't think that's out of the realm of realistic, even just with 1 or 2 good setups a week. When we start getting good setups every day, that's when months can be, 500,000, 700,000, and even a million. I think my best month last year was like 1.3 or 1.4 million. So I don't expect that is going to happen unless the market really turns around. And I don't think that the conflict in the Middle East is going to be the catalyst that turns around this market. It may give some opportunities, but that'll be about it. So let's see. So this is where I finished. Oh, so there's the update. So this was the month of February right there. So, it was at, I guess, about 150 and then lost $6,000 on that last day. No trades on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, made $500, but it was in my taxable account. So I didn't upload that. This is just my Roth IRA. But in any case, that's where I finished there for the month of for the month of February. And then year to date, sitting, let's see, detailed at about $548,000. So 72% accuracy, that's pretty good. 3-minute average hold time on the winners, and 5,200 winners versus $2,200 losers. So a nice profit to loss ratio. Trading most aggressively during this window between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 8 to 9 is where I'm making the most. So I will be streaming tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, and hopefully I can build a little bit of a cushion between 7 and 8. So by 8 a.m., I can step up to the plate and take a little bit of risk and hopefully get some nice trades. You can see my performance by price just doing really well, under 20, and you cross over 20, and I am net negative on the year on higher priced stocks. All right, well, hey, better to recognize that early on and just drop those right then and there and double down right here. So if I was going to make a change for the next month, I would say if it's between $5 and $10, double my position. If it's above 20, don't trade it at all. And if it's between 2 and 5 or 10 and 20, trade with half size. So I want to double down right here between 5 and 10. I want to go easy between 2 and 5, go easy between 10 and 20, and not touch anything over 20. Those are little adjustments that I can make, and it's going to make this even more dramatic. This is going to get even bigger, and these will still lag behind, and then this will just stay exactly as it is here for the rest of the year, if I commit to that for the entire year. I'm not sure I'm ready to do that, but let's just see how it goes for the month of March. Try to improve March, get March to be a little bit better than February. So with that, I'll remind you guys, as always, that trading, of course, is risky and my results aren't typical. Manage your risk by trading in a simulator before putting real money on the line, and I will see you streaming bright and early tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so with that, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will see you on Monday morning.